I love music.
Ah, shut when you think of God.
All right. Welcome back, everybody. It's a Wednesday, which Wednesday belongs to Goblin by Tyler, the Creator. This was definitively the very first album where I felt like, wow, I found like a sound that I like within hip hop, and I was finding so many sounds at this time. This is around the time where I'm finding Tyler and the rest of Odd Future, but also finding TDE, Action Bronson, Mac Miller, and the list, Pro Era. The list goes on, and I was finding this new niche of hip hop, underground internet hip hop, that I wasn't privy to prior to, I would say, Goblin. So I am very thankful for this record. So let's waste no more time and let's get straight into Goblin.
What you need is me, someone to talk to.
Shout out to Dr. TC. What an era.
Role model.
I know this.
I'm a 19-year-old fucking emotional coaster with pipe dream. Message boards are on my dick. I need a piss and wave. Let me bust one in their mouth. I know they feel the flavor.
It's funny because he has such good bars on here. They're just so funny and dark and weird.
I'm not homophobic.
Oh my god. Alright, Goblin. Man. I can't help but feel like Goblin, he wasn't trying to outdo the Bastard intro. He kind of makes a note of it in the song, which is kind of funny. Very meta of him. But in some kind of way, his performance is much better on this intro than Bastard, which Bastard's intro is one of the most iconic intros to a mixtape album of all time. I'm not going to discredit that. But the level of storytelling that is present on Goblin is funny. It's very damning. It's very eye-opening at that moment. He's very transparent about how he feels with the height of Odd Future going up and seemingly not stopping. I mean, hindsight is 2020. The height of Odd Future felt like it probably peaked around, I would say 2013, going in 2012, 2013 feels like the peak of Odd Future. And man, this was just the beginning of it, and he was really seeing how differently people were acting around him, and he just makes a note of it. So Goblin, while very comedic and very brash and very honest and all of the things, is still a really cool intro track, and I'm excited to get into the next song, which is Yonkers.
I'm a fucking walking paradox.
Shit changed my life when I seen this nigga, man.
Then the bunny hopped off my shoulder. Now my conscience did.
Yeah, man. Not too much to say about Yonkers. It's just like one of those tracks that really polarizes and makes note of how talented Tyler is as a songwriter. Just the paradox that exists in the story itself, where he's saying one thing and then saying the exact opposite, but in tandem with what he just said. It's just it's storytelling to a T, and I really wish that he could have got his flowers for it when it was happening. But he kind of did, from the kids, but from everybody else, it was just like, oh, that's some weird shit. But, man, a storytelling masterclass. Was it an actual story? No. But I think that's kind of why I like Tyler in this era of his music, because he was so forthcoming with this fiction-ass story, but very rarely do you get fiction storytelling in hip-hop. So, hats off to him. And we're going to continue Goblin with the very legendary Radicals. We can't be ourselves, but you. That's one of my favorite switches on this album. This album presents a very brash and very harsh version of Tyler that I loved when I was in middle school, but goddamn, am I gonna listen to this like every day? No, like he's outgrown this style of music in such a great way where he gives you like a very like tolerable and like listenable version of it, and it's just like, you know, maturing with time. Like there's obvious reasons why he's not making music that sounds anything close to Goblin right now, and it's just because, you know, he grew up. But man, for the time, this was the anthem. So shout out to Radicals. We're gonna move into our next song, which is Nightmare, which goddamn, if there is a song that there, because I will say there are a group of songs that just kind of stuck around from this album, because like most of the songs here are just kind of like, man, he's talking insane, I'm not going to listen to this song anymore, I've kind of outgrown it. But there are some songs on here that just kind of outlasted time, just based on how awesome they are lyrically, storytelling wise. The production's insane. And I will say, so far, I think the songs that kind of outlasted time for me were She, Nightmare, which is what we're about to get into, and there's a couple songs that we'll be getting into later on that I will make note of being the songs that stick around in my playlist. So before we get into all that, let's get into the song Nightmare. Love, I don't get none. Get some. So I think it becomes obvious why this is the song that like sticks around from Goblin for me, being his vulnerability here is very removed from a lot of the other tracks on this record, because so he talks about his dad, and he talks about Earl, aka Tebe, being sent away from California to the island he was sent to for school, and how that separation kind of hurt Tyler, and he airs frustrations out not only at Earl's parents or his dad, but more or less himself as well. And I think that the introspectiveness here kind of exists throughout the entire record, but the theatrics are stripped down on Nightmare. And I think that's what makes it one of my favorite songs on this entire record. And man, great song. And we're going to move into the next song, which is TRON. Also, before we get into TRON, this is one of those songs that sticks around, but I have to kind of watch myself as I'm listening to it, because these lyrics, Tyler, you were on some shit, dog. Oh my god, let's keep going.
I hate this screaming suffocation. I'll be the only wetback who ain't really touched the water, cause I'm too fucking busy trying to flirt with Angel's daughter.
Alright, so TRON, while such a good song, just because of like how insane it is in the same breath so fucking vulgar. It's like almost like, what's the point of the song beyond the vulgarity? So like this was the one, like back in the day, if I was listening to Tyler, I like made note, if I am in the same vicinity as my mother and father, I am not listening to TRON, because I will definitively get caught, and it will be hell, and I will never be able to listen to Tyler ever again. And listening to it now, I'm like, yeah, no, I get it. Like, my parents probably were not going to be okay if I was listening to this, so. Oh, well.
Who the fuck invited Mr.? I don't give a fucking fuck rolling papers. I'm a rebel, bitch, I'm ashing blunt. Gang, that's the fucking click.
Yeah, a very defiant and formal part of the Odd Future lore of just fuck religion, 666, like all that stuff. This was another track I did not play around my parents, but man, did it get me and my friends turned up back in the day. Like, we played the shit out of Sandwiches in the cars. If we were ever in a car, like with the big homies, Sandwiches came on just out of pure teenage angst, and man, it really takes me back to the good times of being a teenager. But that's all this song really serves as, is just a nostalgia trip for me. Beyond that, it's like a cool song, but beats insane. Probably one of my favorite Odd Future era beats, to be honest with you. So we're gonna get into the next song, which is a favorite, like the first half, of course. Fish. It's such an interesting story being told in this song, and we're about to find out that story.
Slicker than a drink, and in the blink of an eye, I can make a white girl look chink. Don't know what to think, cause last time I attempted this shit, the George ordered me to see a shrink. Streaks of red, even though all pussy is pink. Oblivion makes obvious.
Grand.
She's a bopping bitch. She's a bopping bitch. She's a bopping. This little slut whore sucks cock for a little more bucks than her mother.
Oh my god. Okay, so Fish, the very first half featuring Tyler and Frank Ocean. Really fun to listen to. It's another, very fictional story that they're choosing to portray. And one of the most ominous Odd Future beats of all time. Just this real simple synth piano line from Tyler that just kind of plays underneath him rapping his ass off, introducing this story. And it's just one of those moments where it's just like, man, he can really rap. I mean, then you have the second half where they're talking about bopping bitches. So do with that what you will. And I don't really listen to that song a lot, but Fish, shout out to Fish. And we're going to move into our next song, which I love, love, love this song. Shout out to Analog. Let's do it. I'm her nigga. Analog features a very matured production sound from Tyler. Probably his most mature sounding beat on this entire record. And just probably one of my favorite Haji features on a Tyler song, or just one of my favorite Haji beats, verses in general. And a lot of good vocal background stuff from Sid. And yeah, no, this entire song just comes together. And it's also like the most lighthearted song on the entire album. So I think after a while of just like the dark, like fuck you, 666, like all that stuff, it's nice for a little peek out into like a sunset.
It was all a dream. I used to read complex magazines. I'm a stoner, yeah, we get the picture now. All was great. Frankie had the blues in fact. When you got shit made, so I'm just trying to get paid. Don't you remember the day we weren't to have fun?
Maybe I should have some. I am going to make a hot take because I know everybody fucking loves Oldie. It's like one of the classic tracks that everybody knows. Trust, I am one of those people. But I am of the notion that Window is the best Odd Future posse cut track ever. That was such a poignant, song for me because it was one, the beat is so dark and ominous. It's very cloud rappy, but it's just a very singular moment from each Odd Future member on that track that just misses a couple really, but man, it's such a good song, and it kind of serves as a story for Tyler to express his grievances, but he's using the story method of him killing everybody in the Odd Future clique. And I don't know, man. I just think Window is like one of the more creative Odd Future songs that exist in that entire world. So one of my favorites. Just wanted to give it its flowers and go on from there. If you're going to kill me in the comments for saying that Window is better than Oldie, I'm willing to die on the hill.
This is the end of this session. Anything else you gotta say?
Mom is getting jealous. I see my manager more. Wonder why my dick harder than the white kids who copy shit. I'm fucking crazy. I'm a fucking toad.
Yes.
I'm a fucking toad. No, fuck this
Tyler,
shit.
calm down.
Now a bunch of whispering immerse.
He's right there.
Jesus Christ, man. Ayo, had to make a little bit of an audible because my camera died. But just finished up Golden, which, golly, man, I'm telling you that I feel like that is definitively still one of my favorite performances from Tyler, the Creator, as an artist. He is just coming out with the most insane metaphors, most insane comparisons to really depict and explain how he's feeling as a human being with everything happening around him. It's one of those like songs that like if it pops up, I'm just gonna listen to it in awe because of how awesome it is, and pairing it with his like direct conversation with Dr. TC, and man, just an incredible artist, man. Tyler did his thing on that. With my camera dead and me recording this now beyond Wednesday, it is now Thursday, it's now 12 a.m. I'm going to listen to the rest of the album off camera, but love Goblin. It's a great album. It's fun to listen to in retrospect on a nostalgia trip, but it's definitely an album that I don't listen to on a day-to-day basis, being that the content is just insane. But it was a product of the time, and man, do I miss those days a lot. It was good time to be a teenager and consume Odd Future content, starting with Goblin. So shout out to Tyler for a great album, and I'm glad it was for Wednesday. It was fun. And we're moving on into Thursday, which is going to be A$AP Rocky's Testing, which I'm so excited to get back into that album. It's been quite a while since I've listened to it in full, and I have a number of songs that I listen to on a day-to-day basis from that album, so I'm very excited to hop back in, and yeah, very excited. Let's do it, man. All right. Made it to a very secure location. We're here and we're ready to get into Testing by A$AP Rocky. Now, I've loved this album. It's probably one of my favorites from A$AP Rocky, but to be very honest, it took me a while to get there because, man, at long last, A$AP was definitively my favorite A$AP project when it first came out, and I feel like it is to this day. So when Testing came out immediately after, which I think it was about like 3 years after At Long Last, I was like, bruh, I don't know if I'm fucking with this. Like, it just doesn't match, and I shouldn't have pinned the two together, because Testing is a very dope and cohesive project on its own, and comparing it to something else just isn't fair to do in anybody's discography. So let's get into Testing by A$AP Rocky. Distorted Records is a pretty straightforward just introduction into the sounds that he's going to be presenting on the rest of the album, and just like setting off that like cool A$AP Rocky, A$AP Mob og shit. So I love Distorted Records. I don't play it as often. Fire song still nonetheless. So let's get into the next song, and that is A$AP Forever, the remix featuring Kid Cudi, T.I. Oh, I love this intro, bro. The bigger they are, the harder they fall like domino. Nigga Geronimo. Hey, I have a whole video on this Kid Cudi verse. Go watch that. It was up in the city, the one that's surrounded by lights. Hell yeah, I did it, I'm on a roll. You thought it'd be over, my nigga, no. Man, that song is just so good. I mean, let alone the fact that A$AP tore his verse to shreds. It was a verse that we had already heard because it was the lead single for the album. But seeing remix and Kid Cudi's name was on it, and I kind of made my video about this. That was a very important verse for Kid Cudi, in my opinion, in that he had gone to rehab a couple years prior to that. And just to be worried about one of your favorite artists and not really know how they're doing state of mind wise, and then for him to come back and he is just on a roll on this fucking verse. It's one of my favorite verses of his, in that he just completely sounds rejuvenated and really healthy for the very first time in his career, along with the artistry of remixing Moby's Porcelain to the degree that he did. But man, incredible track. It is the definitive song that I play on that album repeatedly. Has not left my rotation since I played it the first time I ever played this record. So love that song. So Fuck Sleep is definitely a song that I don't go back to often, but I feel like after revisiting it, I think it's going to be a new favorite from this album, because FKA Twigs has just one of the most incredible voices I've ever heard. She just has the range of a Mariah, a Celine. She just gets up there, and then she can also find this mid-range that really highlights her as an artist. And man, and A$AP doing what he does when he does auto-tune, just very laid back, chill delivery of whatever he's trying to get off, and he does that great on this track as well. Third night, nigga, this is I've always really loved that last verse from Smokey Margella, which I don't know why he never credited Cardi and the other guy that he had on here and Smokey Margella, because I feel like that would have been like a big moment for Margella, but nonetheless, still like one of those like kids that you just like look back on and you're like, damn, bro, like he could have blew the fuck up. Yeah, man, love this song. Buckshots is a really dope song. Yeah, I don't really have too much to say about it, good or bad. It's just dope as fuck.
Album number 3, keep it G like Q. Tell him help me please.
Damn, what a cool song that is. There are a lot of album cuts on Testing, being that there are the obvious highlights meaning popularity, used in media. Everybody just like loves like the major hits, but man, he has some like really hidden gems in here where I feel like if anything, A$AP, if he has any direction, which I'm assuming, being that it's his album, it's his songs, his direction in which he wants to use artists in very specific ways makes him that much more important to the culture, being that he could have used French Montana in such a different demeanor and a very cliche demeanor. Cliche meaning like we just know the normal French Montana type track, but he utilized him for what I feel like most people should, because French Montana kind of does have like a good singing voice, and he uses this very interesting voice effect on the chorus that is just really dope. I have nothing but good things to say about that song, but nonetheless, moving into the next song, which I hope everybody knows, OG Beeper. Love that song. Not much to say, just like a really cool period piece sounding song. Like, out of all the songs here, and like out of any song that A$AP has ever put out, despite that he already has a song on this video game, that's like the most GTA sounding song I've ever heard. Like, I don't know if it would even be worthwhile putting OG Beeper in the new Grand Theft Auto that's coming out in however many so years, but you know.
Why you always treat me like I owe some? Truthfully, you only wanna hold some. Get like tell me how it's going.
Bruh, that song is so hard, bro. Like, that feels like a period of like live, love, ASAP. That could seamlessly fit on that mixtape because it just that slowed cloud rap sound to just transition back into a faster tempo. That was seamless and it was fucking awesome. It was gorgeous. I mean, yeah, ASAP, you got it, my boy. And we're gonna continue with Changes, Black Tux, White Collar, and Purity featuring Frank Ocean.
Wake up to my explore page, see my exes engaged. I wonder if they really happy or just getting at me.
Man, Changes is 4 songs in one, and it fits it in a really short amount of time of 4 minutes. That could have easily been a 7-minute track, and I would have been there for the full 7 minutes. I really love the back half where he's talking about going on an explore page and seeing his girl either pregnant or engaged, and just posting new niggas and wondering if they're even happy or they're just trying to get at him, like, out of spite. You always like to hear that these celebs are going through, you know, regular human being emotions. Not that they wouldn't. It's just, like, always good to hear them express it, because what other medium would they be able to express it, you know? So, really dope. Love Changes. I've always loved that song. Dope flow. Beat is insane. I think it's like one of the most underrated beats. I'll always love hearing Cardi in the background of ASAP songs. Like, I don't know what it is. It's just kind of like, that's still the homie. You know what I mean? Because, you know, Cardi is in his own universe at all times. Even around this time, he was in his own universe, but will always remain loyal to the ASAP family. So always hearing him in the background of this and Buckshots, seeing him in the video of ASAP Forever, it's just kind of like dope to see those two together. But yeah, nah, dope ass song. Alright, once again, another camera death for the books. Although, it did last the entire song. It just cut me off, unbeknownst to me, while I was giving my review of the song and the album. But, nonetheless, I love Testing. It's one of those that has inevitably grown on me in such a beautiful way. It has some of the best sounds ASAP has happened to have on an album. It just isn't my favorite ASAP album, which is okay. It's not always gonna be my favorite album each time from these guys, but nonetheless, love the sounds that were present. I'm gonna have some new favorites to listen to. 143rd was just like, what the fuck. And also the French Montana track is just like one of those that, like, you know, I heard first listen, but it just didn't stick first listen. So going through another time and finding new shit that I really love about this album is kind of the whole point of this entire video. So very excited to just keep on listening and finding new little spots that I just love over time. And yeah, second to last album out of the way. We're moving on to tomorrow, which is Man on the Moon 2, Kid Cudi. I'm very excited to get back into that record. I know there's just so many hits on there, and a lot of album cuts that I'm sure I've forgotten about that I'm just, who doesn't love Cudi, man? I'm just really excited to get back into his music. So without further ado, let's go into the last day of the video. Kid Cudi, Man on the Moon 2. All right, man, happy Friday, because this will be out on a Friday, so this kind of lines up. Man, I'm really excited about Man on the Moon 2. Much like most of the records that I have listened to on this list, I haven't heard it in forever. So Scott Mescudi versus the World is the first track with CeeLo Green. Didn't even remember CeeLo Green being on this record. So that's kind of telling of how long it's been since I've sat down with this record. Yeah, Kid Cudi, Man on the Moon 2, The Legend of Mr. Ager. Wow. Okay, so Scott Mescudi versus the World featuring CeeLo Green is a very early, high-quality song. I think I'll always respect CeeLo Green for his contributions to hip-hop and R&B, but I don't know, I don't seek out his music, but I feel like he is always featured for very specific reasons, and it's because they know his vocal range will probably, and in most cases, shine brightly on choruses or short singing verses, and I mean, this is no exception. He does an incredible job here on this chorus. A chorus that could be sung by Kid Cudi himself, but the addition of CeeLo Green was incredible. Love this beat. It's very dynamic. Love this. Love the production. And I'm really excited to get into the rest of the record. So this details the really shitty part about more or less drug addiction, and I feel safe with saying drug addiction or just substance abuse, being that Cudi would end up going to rehab. Him just detailing the, for lack of a better term, shitty part about the abuse of drugs is, I also don't want to hear your be careful when you're doing this, that, and the third. That's an interesting line, and it also goes back to the irony of, like, hey, if you want to hear me talking about being sober, don't listen to the song. And that is inherently sad. I really like this song. I really like the addition of Mary J. Blige. These two are so strong when it comes to vocals that hearing them together sounds like just heaven. So really, really loving the track. The production was awesome again, and yeah. So Marijuana is a very, very interesting record in that it could be taken as a praise of the drug in a very healthy way, or it could be taken as a dependence on weed above all. I like to think that the latter is what this song is about. It's about the dependency that exists between Kid Cudi and weed in his life. And man, that inherently makes it a sad song, but when the sad song is such a psychedelic experience, the guitar solo incredible, the 808s are just in and out punching, it almost kind of simulates the feeling of being almost too high, like you're feeling like you're about to green out, but really you're doing fine. You just need a sip of water, need to sit down, and it's like, oh man, I can really enjoy this now. And I think that's what this song feels like to me personally. It would be a crime of my own to not highlight that first verse where his flow was insane. And I think it's a good reminder that Kid Cudi is in fact a good rapper above his melodic talents, and rightfully so, they should be praised upon, but he is a good rapper too, and I think Marijuana really, really presents that. Who are you, Judy? So that might be my favorite Kid Cudi vocal performance ever. He like really cuts through the beat on this rapping wise. I feel like he accomplishes that when he's like doing his singing melodic thing, but when he raps, he's more of like a soft tone, just kicking it cool in the back type shit. But like this one, he's like on top of it, and I really love the vocal performance here. It's also just some cool Cudi shit, but man, I don't think I've audibly laughed that hard at a line in a song in quite some time, where he's just, who are you, Judy? Like that knocked me on my ass just now, and you saw it. There's video evidence of that being that funny to me. But man, just another showing of the charisma that Cudi has. Classic, yeah. God, I love that song. That chorus is just so infectious. Ye's storytelling throughout his verse is just what makes Ye. And Kid Cudi, an emotional wreck over this girl. Just, I can't stop missing you. The beat is incredible. It's such a bridge of pop, rock, and rap. Hats off to Kid Cudi and Kanye West for being one of my favorite duos that possibly will never make music ever again, but only time will tell. I'm off on forever in love with that song. Man, I associate that song now with that one TikTok of the guy that like plays it for his newborn, who is often crying as newborns do. And the comfort song that really gets her to chill out is Mr. Rager. Like the second he starts playing Mr. Rager, the baby just goes into like a and just starts chilling out. And then it cuts to a toddler or just slightly above toddler age version of the baby listening to Mr. Rager but jamming out to it with her dad, and it's just the most wholesome thing I've ever seen in my life, and it makes me so happy. It's just a very curious track is the best way to explain it for myself, in that you're just curious, like, where does our mind go when we get this high, and do we even really go anywhere? It's interesting. I got really introspective there, and I really love this song so much, so forgive me. I don't want what I need. What I need hates me. All along, I knew I was meant to be alone. Those are some sad fucking lyrics, man. Whether they're true or not, I feel is open to interpretation, but I feel like personally they're not. Like, I don't feel Kid Cudi is meant to always end up being alone. He just feels that way when everything that he feels he needs is going against him, whether that be a girl, whether that be the things that have just given him comfort, friends, whatever the case might be. I feel like it's open to interpretation, more or less. Man, what a track where he is just being fully transparent about the sad feelings he has harbored for probably the entirety of his life. And man, all along, it's a really good song. All right, so that's the entire album. Trapped in My Mind specifically is what I have a lot to say about, because it's kind of another sad chorus in which he proclaims that he's, you know, going through some shit, but is almost convincing someone that he's doing okay. Like here he says, I'm trapped in my mind. I know it's crazy, but hey, I'm not that bad at all. Which sounds like he's talking to someone else, but it almost sounds like he's convincing himself that he's not losing his mind in response to being trapped in his mind at all times. It's something that he knows won't change at the drop of a dime, at the snap of a finger. It won't change tomorrow. So he's almost come to terms with the facts. And that kind of feels like what Man on the Moon 2 is about. It's just him coming to terms with substance abuse. It's him coming to terms with his dependency on said drugs and alcohol and whatever the case may be, to the point where he knows that it's things that he will need in his life to function on some basis of normalcy. And it's sad. It's very reflected in songs like All Along. In some instances, it gives him some positives and some kind of swagger that he can't unlock sober. And you can kind of hear that on Mojo So Dope. But man, Kid Cudi delivered probably one of my favorite records from him in this album. And I didn't even realize that it was. I mean, I always loved Man on the Moon 2, but hearing it today has kind of shifted it up a couple notches in the discography top 5 conversation for Kid Cudi for me today. Kid Cudi, you did a great job. I love you as an artist. I love you as a person as much as I possibly can, because I literally do not know you. But man, what an artist, what a record. Kid Cudi, Man on the Moon 2, fire. See you tomorrow. The same way I love music is the same way I've loved making this video this last week. I've been reintroduced to music that I've loved for years and introduced to new sounds that made my ears happy. And that's all I ever wanted out of this process. The only other thing I wanted out of this process was to try something new. And I'm so glad that this worked out. And I'm so glad that you made it to the end of the video. Thank you for watching. I hope that it was an enjoyable process watching me listen to all this music. And man, look at the fucking beautiful views I've provided this entire time. So shout out to my backyard. Shout out to my neighborhood. Shout out to Earth, man. Nature fucking rocks. But nonetheless, thank you for coming to this video, making it to the end. I hope that you're subscribed. I hope that you like what I'm doing. There's going to be more Dev Talks on the way. There's going to be more Dev is Alive Collective Cinema Club content on the way as well. So thank you. Subscribe, like, share with your friends, all that jazz. Dev is Alive, and out.